If Scientology is defined as something based on truth or the study of truth and knowledge, then a corollary is that extremism is not part of Scientology, because extremism means a single value logic, and Scientology is based on infinite value logic. And that's what differentiates Scientology from earlier practice, which is double sided logic. Therefore, if one has extremism, then that means that one has lost any sense of balance, because this is what makes a great auditor in session, is that he's capable to incorporate all the knowledge he has and continually improvise in session. When I say improvise, I don't mean invent process. That's not at all what improvise is. It's an acknowledgement, a natural acknowledgement. While you can drill it, you still have to react to the PC accordingly in session. So it's impossible to have someone that is so rigid that is unable to ever improvise, because this is what a robot is. And when I say improvise, that means that you handle the piece in front of you. And of course you follow a strict pattern and procedure. However, you have to be flexible enough to do whatever is appropriate within, of course, the confine of standard tech. The PC goes out of communication, then you get him back in communication. PC get an RC break, you deal with RC break instead of robotically going to a very strict pattern. There's, of course, a certain pattern to follow in session, but no one is going to tell you that you can know beforehand what is the proper acknowledgement or the proper TR for handling for PC. You have to base that on judgment. In the same way, extremism is basically based that something will always be one way and something will always be another way. For example, people, if they don't obey the church, they're suppressive. Therefore, all people are suppressive if they talk against management. And therefore you declare them without any further ado, unless of course they're friend with Miscavige. And the or piteousness, you're connected to someone who's been declared suppressive. Of course, the suppressiveness is always right, which is another form of extremism, is basing oneself completely on arbitraries. And one can see that in fanatic groups. They have a set of arbitrary rules, and those rules supplant anything else or reason. So Scientology is actually meant to be based on reason, because if it's true, it has to be within reason. Sometimes the truth is not always evident. Sometimes appearances can be misleading, but still within reason you can deduct it. And I mean, the laws of physics were built that way. Some of them are not quite evident, but when you study and you start to look at it, some of them which are not always obvious, then you can really see the logic of it, and that's the way it is. In the same way. So the fair game law is an example of extremisms. The disconnection at the drop of a hat as the first form of PTS handling, that's another form of extremism. Anything that is wrong, the harsh ethics, that's extremism. It's basically, extremism is a friend with robotism. There are merely two symptoms of the same disease, which is the inability to think, which is of course based on the inability to be in present time, because someone who's utterly in present time would need no 50,000 rules. He would know what to do, what is right and what is not right, and he would not need all these endless rules and strict line of conduct, because he knows what is right. When I audit in session, I always apply the auditor code, and that's not because someone is threatening me, that's not because someone is supervising me, it's because it's part of my nature. I know that this is the right way to do it. Therefore, I follow very strictly the auditor code, and I always get a great result. And So if someone follows the author code just because it's an arbitrary rules, then he has not understood truly what it is about and the real way of doing things. And this is why I was so successful as an author. It's not because I could robotically apply the tech. It's because I made sure that I understood the why of everything before I applied it. Therefore, because I understood it, it made sense. I understood why. And therefore, if anything unusual happened in session, I would know how to handle because I understood the whole background behind it. And therefore, I could respond in accordance. While someone who's robotic, he doesn't understand something unusual happened, he doesn't know how to handle, then someone give him some verbal tech or threaten, and then you just follow that rule robotically. I never did that. That's because I cared to understand everything in depth.